Hi everyone, thanks for having me here today. Boundaries are limiting, but humans are limitless. That is why we humans have all the power and abilities to move mountains and cross oceans. However, these powers and abilities are presumed to be limiting the world's largest minority, that is, persons with disabilities. As per the WHO's estimates, 1.3 billion people experience some or the other kind of significant disabilities. It constitutes around 16% of the world's population. It means 1 in 6 of us. Hi, my name is Anita, and I'm going to talk about my stories of breaking barriers, moving mountains, and crossing oceans. I was born on the Indian Air Force Day in a very conservative Rajasthani family. My parents were happy that day. They wanted me to reach the sky and fly high. But 6 months later, I contracted polio. My legs became paralyzed, waist down, due to wrong administration of polio vaccine. I stopped moving, and this paralysis impacted my entire movement. My parents had no idea what to do with me next, but at the same time, my mother, she was barely 19, mustered all her courage, and with my father, she took charge of my life, and both of them took me to different places of worship in hope of a miracle. Both of them took me to different places of hospitals and doctors in hope of a good medical intervention. They wanted the best treatments for me. I underwent multiple surgeries, and with countless physiotherapy sessions, I started standing at the age of 10. My parents were happy because they saw me now standing, not crawling anymore. My siblings were happy because I was now playing with them, so we had a wonderful childhood. By this time, my parents made everything so normalized in the family, they accepted my disability and adapted with each and every kind of situations. In the parallel universe, my father moved to different cities because of his transferable job, and we kept on moving along with him. I saw different cultures, traditions, different ways and different kinds of experiences, but I also saw different kinds of bullying. I was not only bullied for my disability, but I was also bullied for my dark complexion, short height, weight, and my surgical stitch marks, calipers, crutches, whatnot. Here my siblings played a very significant role. They protected me from the external world, and they fought with their classmates as well for me. My parents protected me from all kinds of social pressures, taunts, comments, and they gave me a very comfortable childhood. Everything was going on well, and my father wanted me to be a doctor. He put me in different medical preparation coaching centers and different tuition centers, and made my mother to learn to drive a car for me, so that she could pick me up and drop me to different coaching centers where I was preparing for my medical entrance exam. But after 2 years of preparation, I could not qualify any single entrance exam. My father actually lost hopes in me, and that was a very disheartening feeling for me. He put me then in different local colleges for my graduation and post-graduation. I completed my MBA and got a job after that. I became financially independent, and in the meantime, I realized that my mother was always with me. She was like my shadow all the time. She was taking me from one place to another place, one coaching center to different coaching center, one birthday party to another friend's birthday party, and all these places. She was with me. I had this huge guilt that because of me, she left all her dreams. But I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to fly, I wanted to drive on my own. I wanted to go anywhere, wherever I wanted to go. But how to do, I had no idea. But because I have done I had done MBA, so I thought that let's do Google research and put all information, facts and figures under one domain and then give presentation to parents. I did that, searched for local vendors, car modifiers, also searched for people with disabilities who were already driving modified cars, and I was fortunate enough to find that kind of data. I also found out that it was easy to drive, but what was not easy to convince your parents. I did that multiple times, and I told my parents that I can drive if they can. After multiple sessions of convincing, they got agreed. And my father got me a car, and with my mother, and I went to a local mechanic who modified my car in a very simple way. It's a jugaad technology he was using, wherein one rod was attached to the brake and accelerator, and one lever was attached just below the steering wheel. When I was pressing it, it became a brake. When I was pulling it, it became an accelerator. And it was an automatic car. I was able to drive without any problem because my mother was my teacher who taught me how to drive a car. And in no time, maybe in 4 or 5 days, I was so confident that I was driving all by myself. I was having that kind of feeling that when I sat on the driving seat, I did not feel I was driving. I felt that I was flying. It was a wonderful experience for me. After a certain point in time, I was at a crossroads. At one point, one direction, one path was taking me to the most conventional and most traveled path, but the other path was less traveled and unconventional. Because I wanted to prove it to my parents, then I'm worthy enough, and I wanted to prove it to the world as well, that I'm worthy enough even with this disability, I chose the path less traveled. I decided to move out of my comfort zone, and I joined the prestigious Indian Institute of Management for my Ph.D. The moment I landed in Indore, everything changed in a way that I was ready to explore the new world in my life. I lived in a hostel all alone. I traveled not only in India, but in foreign countries to present my research work, and in some of the conferences, my parents also joined me. While they were exploring the country, I was giving my presentation in those international conferences. It was a wonderful time, and during this particular time, I also learned everything independently. It was one of the most satisfying journeys wherein I became Anita, from Anita to Dr. Anita. Wonderful experience. And after that, I joined IIM Amritsar as a professor. I worked there. It was a dream job, and everything was going on well. And I also did something very interesting. I did skydiving in London. This was something made me one of the only ladies in the country who did skydiving. I became the first woman skydiver with a disability. Thank you. I conquered my fears, and here, fear is an acronym for me. It means face everything and rise. I was living the dream life after that. Professor in one of the prestigious institutes in the country, traveling across the world, leading a life which everybody can dream of, and one day everything changed. A lady came to me. She was a person with a disability herself. She came to me and asked a very simple question. She said, "Anita, I want to be like you. I want to be independent like you." And I said, if you want to be like me, in a very joking way or in a laughing way, I said, if you want to be like me, then prepare for GMAT, GRE, CAT, NET, JRF, whatever exam, and then get into an IIM or an IIT, then your life will be sorted. You become a professor, and then you will travel the world, and you will be like me. She replied, no, I don't want to be like you as a professor, but I want to drive like you, drive a car like you, because currently people consider me as bechari or helpless. I am dependent on my husband or other family member to go from one place to another place. I again replied to her that it's not a rocket science. You can learn it from anyone, or any driving school can help you out in doing so. She said, there is no driving school, Anita, for persons with disabilities. They do not have technology to train persons with disabilities. Even they don't understand that why a person with a disability requires driving. So she again convinced me. She tried. I ultimately got agreed to what she was asking for. 4 weekends, I trained her to drive. 5th weekend, she purchased her car. 6th weekend, she got her car modified as per her requirement. And on the 7th weekend, she came home with her 2 daughters. She thanked me and hugged me, and I was overwhelmed, and at the same time, something was hitting my mind, and I realized this is my calling. This is my purpose of being, wherein I can contribute in the lives of persons with disabilities to make them mobility independent. After that, I decided to quit my so-called prestigious professorship from IIM. I put my papers, I did not discuss it with my parents even, and then I founded my organization called Drive on My Own Foundation. After that, I trained a couple of more, in fact, many more people with different kinds of disabilities, people who had polio, people who had spinal cord injury, people who had hand amputation, people who had leg amputation, and other kinds of disabilities. In the meantime, I got married to the love of my life. My husband is a wheelchair user. Together we started driving and traveling across the country, and we found out it's very difficult for a person with a wheelchair to travel in India. So we decided to explore what is it available in the Western world, in developing countries. So there we identified that how the systems in the Western world is designed for persons with disabilities, wheelchair ramps, wheelchair lifts, then there's a swivel seat, and all these kind of technologies are available in the Western world. We also found out that the kind of exposure they give to persons with disabilities, the kind of acceptability it is offering to the persons with disabilities, the kind of community, the kind of government support, the kind of universally designed infrastructure everywhere, wherever you go, buses, rails, airports, people are aware of everything. So it was so fascinating to see. We both came back and realized that whatever is offered in the Western world can't be immediately replicated in India. So what we needed was a jugaad system. This innovative idea into how we help other persons with disabilities to become independent. So here we made a CARS model. This CARS model means C-A-R-S, or this is a CARS approach, wherein we say C means customizable, A means affordable, R means resources, and S means sustainable. So we have to design customized solutions in terms of driving, because in persons with disabilities, disability is a very individual phenomena which also impacts persons with disabilities, families of persons with disabilities. So we have to design customized solutions. These are to be affordable, frugal, economical, and we also found out that in India, in each and every state, in union territories, every rule and regulation is very different. So we created content, we started creating content, and we started sharing it with Indian audience that it is readily available with us. And we also provided sustainable solutions, because whatever modification, whatever customization, whatever out of box or unconventional solutions we are offering are required to be sustainable. With this, we found out that it is so much to do in India, and we are ready to do that. So I want to end my conversation, my talk here with one of the skydiving experiences. I want to say that if we believe in the wind and conquer our fears, we are ready to launch and sky is the limit. And I also want to end, ज़्यादा सोचने से इरादे कमज़ोर होते हैं. Thank you.